Can one call to the cops backfire spectacularly? I'd always cherished the quiet of my ranch, a sprawling piece of land where the wind whispered through the pines and the horizon stretched endlessly. I'm Lila, a single mom who poured every dime into this place after my divorce, turning it into a sanctuary for me and my daughter, Sophie. The barn, the horses, the wildflower sit was our haven. But peace is fragile, and mine shattered the day Karen moved into the neighboring lot. Karen was a storm in human form. From day one, she complained. My horses were too loud. My fence was an eyesore. My existence was an offense. She'd march over, her designer sunglasses glinting, demanding I fix things that weren't broken. I tried to be neighborly, offered her coffee, explained the ranch's rhythms, but she'd just sneer and storm off. The tension simmered, but I never imagined how far she'd go. It started with petty jabs. Karen claimed my irrigation ditch was flooding her pristine lawn. It wasn't their sprinklers were the issue, but she'd scream at me across the fence, her voice sharp enough to curdle milk. Then came the anonymous complaints to the county about illegal livestock. I spent hours proving my permits were in order. Sophie, only 10, started asking why the mean lady hated us. I didn't have an answer, but the real trouble hit one scorching July afternoon. I was mending a fence when Karen stormed onto my property, phone in hand, filming me like I was a criminal. "You're done, Lila," she shrieked. "Your rundown ranch is a hazard. I'm calling the cops." Before I could respond, she dialed 911, claiming I was harassing her by working on my own land. My heart sank. I'm no saint, but I'd never crossed her property line or raised my voice. This was absurd. As Karen ranted, a new figure appeared. Mr. Jenkins, the reclusive old farmer who owned the land behind us. He'd been watching from his truck, his weathered face unreadable. "You're on her land, ma'am," he said quietly to Karen. She snapped, "Mind your business, old man." But Jenkins just tipped his hat and walked off. I didn't know it then, but his words would change everything. 2 officers arrived, their patrol car kicking up dust. Karen, smug as ever, recounted her tale of woe, painting me as a reckless, lawless rancher. I stood there, hands shaking, explaining I was just fixing my fence. Sophie peeked from the porch, eyes wide with fear. I thought I'd lose everything, me home, my daughter's trust. But then the officers turned to Karen, their faces stern. "Ma'am," one said, "we've checked the property lines. You're trespassing on Ms. Lila's land." Karen's jaw dropped. She sputtered, "That's impossible. I know my rights." But the second officer held up a survey map provided, I later learned, by Mr. Jenkins, who'd quietly contacted the county. Karen's perfect lawn extended 10 feet onto my property, including her precious gazebo. She'd been the one breaking the law. The officers issued Karen a formal warning for trespassing and told her to remove her gazebo or face fines. Her face turned crimson, her voice a mix of rage and disbelief. "You're siding with her?" she screamed, pointing at me. The officers didn't flinch. "Move your stuff, ma'am, or we'll be back." As they drove off, Karen stood frozen, her phone dangling in her hand. Sophie ran to me, hugging my waist. I felt a rush of relief, but also pity. Karen's world was unraveling, and she'd done it to herself. In the weeks that followed, Karen's gazebo came down. She stopped coming outside, her curtains always drawn. Neighbors whispered about her failed complaints and the county's crackdown on her property violations. Mr. Jenkins, it turned out, had been documenting her oversteps for months, tired of her bullying everyone in the area. His quiet intervention was the twist that turned the tide. I didn't gloat, life's too short for that. My ranch is peaceful again, and Sophie's smiles are back. But Karen's call to the cops, meant to ruin me, only exposed her own wrongs. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it arrives in a dusty pickup truck or a surveyor's map. What do you think? Did Karen get what she deserved? Or should I have tried harder to make peace? Share your thoughts.